Okay, so I suggest we start for those who are there, and there might be some more joining after. Welcome everyone to the presentation of the new members. We have 3 presentations foreseen today. The first one will be Ernst Brommeis from Das Blaue Wunder. And then the second will be Manon from Waterlux, and the third one will be Samuel from Wasser für Wasser. So you might know one or the other, but I think it's always also interesting to know what is to be up to date, to know what's going on and their projects. And so we have these presentations today, and then tomorrow we have 2 other members who will also present themselves, also for kind of a lunch session. So then, yeah, I don't want to waste the time, but directly hand over to the first presenter. We will have presentation, and then directly after the presentations, you can also ask questions. So the first one to present would be Ernst. I'm sharing your screen. Please quickly confirm that you can see it.
Yes.
Your presentation.
It's me. Yes.
It's you and your slides, right?
Yeah. It's perfect.
Great.
Thanks for the great organization.
So then I hand over to you and your presentation.
Yeah. So I want to present my life, and we skip to the next slide, Marisa. We take the next one. So maybe it's important to say, and I say this also at my lectures, that this is my profession. So I'm a professional water ambassador and a swimmer, and this since 14 years. And my projects, I call them the Blue Miracle or das Blaue Wunder, or in Graubünden I'd say Miracle Blau or Miracolo Blue. So it's this is the brand, but I change always the brand when I'm in French, so it's Le Miracle Bleu. And my business is built on 3 pillars. So from one side, I have my swim expeditions, and I needed the swim expeditions really for me. It's important because I think it's important that I'm really in and not only talking about water, but I'm really a part of the water. I'm really a part of these water areas. But I need the swims also to provide these water stories. Then the second pillar is I'm a speaker, and I would say maybe a water storyteller. And I'm doing a lot of speeches. 2 days ago, I was at the ETH here in Zurich. And I was then, the topic is COP27 in Egypt. And ETH is organizing several events, and I was there for the water topic, and it was for me really interesting to discuss with these young people, with people who's there for mathematics or computer sciences, intelligence sciences, or artificial intelligence are there for physics. And I talked with them 2 days ago about the idea that we need maybe more water ambassadors for the world, and the ETH world is probably really a world of the numbers and facts and figures, and it was so interesting to talk with them also about emotions, about stories, about narratives. I was also, yes, I'm so also as a speaker, the private sector, but also in schools. So I'm talking also with the young children, boys and girls. They're maybe 10 years old or 12 years old. And then the third pillar is I have several mandates for Blue Peace. For Blue Peace, I was also in March at the World Water Forum, not the World Document, the World Water Forum in Dakar. And this was for me so really a great experience to be there, because it was completely new for me, and to see that the World Water Forum is 3 or 4 times bigger than the World Economic Forum. I was 10 years now in Davos, and I know a little bit about the WEF, and it was so impressive for me to see all this. And then I'm a member also with Carla and Johannes of the Swiss Water Climate Forum, initiative from Willisau and in Luzern. and I'm yes, I would say the man who brought the idea of Graubündenwasser, and Graubündenwasser is a new story that I will start now in Graubünden at the sources of the, I would say of Europe, but I will tell then afterwards about this project. So next, Marisa. So these are really much short, my expeditions. The first expedition was in Graubünden, so in the middle of the Alps, at the sources of Europe. And I'm swimming for me, but I try always to swim also with a message. And the message was, if I find something beautiful, then I also appreciate and value it. And this was so, it's still, I think, an important message. Then the second one was I swam through the biggest lakes of Switzerland. So I swam the Lac Léman, Vierwaldstätter See, Zürichsee, and the idea was to swim to the biggest lake of each canton, also canton. So it's not important to swim, would say, in Basel-Stadt, because there is no lakes. But the mission was water à discrétion is history. Water à discrétion is even history now in Switzerland. And this is really something that changed, I think, really the last 14 years, also for the cantons like Wallis, Glarus, Berner Oberland, Graubünden, Uri, in the middle of the Alps, that the water à discrétion is really history. We have a lot of challenges because yes, microplastic is also at the sources of the Rhine, or in the sources of the Rhine and of the Inn or Donau. Okay, next expedition was swam the Rhine twice. The first time I failed, but when you fail, you have the chance to learn a lot. And then I started the second time, and when I swam the whole Rhine till Rotterdam, for the sources till Rotterdam, here you see this picture. The photo is the delta, the Rhine Delta in Rotterdam, and then the English Channel, and on the other side you see the Thames, and this highlighted is London. And when I saw this photo, I said, okay, it's all from the perspective. I can say Basel is next to the Rhine, Köln, Rotterdam is next to the Rhine, but also London is next to the Rhine. And I would say Zurich is next to the Amazon, and the Geneva is next to the Nile. So, and I think this is so, for me, so strong that we are all connected by water. And then now with all these discussions about the war in Ukraine, and we need more, or we still need oil and gas and so far, but the resource we really need, the source we really need, and this is really our destiny, is water. And I think water is also so connected with all these climate issues, and should be more, I think, also in the middle of our discussions. Okay. After the Rhine, I swam to Milano, because Milano, the trade, the Expo Milano was in 2015, the claim was how to feed the world, and food and water is 100% connected. And then I tried to swim from Switzerland, from the Lago Maggiore, across the Lago Maggiore, and then the river Ticino, and swam 50 kilometers in the Naviglio Grande. It's a channel system in Milano. I swam 50 kilometers till Milano. But I stopped 10 kilometers before Milano. After 120 kilometers, I stopped because the water was in a poor quality, about water pollution. And it was so interesting that I was disappointed that I couldn't reach Milano. But on the other side, it was exactly the message. But I'm not swimming in the Nile, on the Amazon. I'm swimming really in Europe. I'm swimming maybe 50 kilometers away from Switzerland. And we have really problems with the water quality. So I think it was a message. Okay, Marisa, the next one. Yes, and since 3-4 years, I'm trying, and it's a wish, it's a dream, but it's also a goal. I would really aim to swim the biggest lakes, freshwater lakes of our world. Yes, from South America, the biggest one is Titicaca. North America, it's the Lake Superior. And the big one is for Africa, it's the Lake Victoria. And I was there, I was on the Lake Victoria. I saw the Lake Victoria, but the Lake Victoria, it's an ocean, as you can see. But there are so many challenges. Yeah, you have crocodiles, and you have the bilharziose, and I wasn't courageous enough. And so I decided to try to swim the Lake Baikal. Marisa, the next one, probably. Yes, one back. Yes, exactly. So I tried to swim the Lake Baikal. I was there the last 3 years, 4 times in Siberia. And I was there last summer for 6 weeks at the same place. I was there for training, for yes, also to become a part of all this region. And I want to show you this picture. It's really so wild. It's so remote place. It's wonderful, but also with a lot of challenges, because it's also the Lake Baikal is hugest water reservoir of the world. 20% of the fresh water is there. Yes, it's an ocean. Marisa, and this is really for me the best question I ever heard in my life, and it was in Siberia. And Alexander, Sasha asked to me, Ernst, does water have a soul? Does water have a soul? And nobody in Switzerland, in Europe, ever gave me this question. For me, yes. Okay. So, and this was I realized in the lake of the shores of the Lake Baikal that we are really living since 200 years in a fire civilization. We are burning everything. We are living in an age of fire. And now I will say maybe we shouldn't talk maybe about circular economy, maybe more talk about an age of water. And I think age of water could be a new narrative. And when we talk now that we are living now the age of fire into a new age of water, then we are really thinking and acting also in a circular way. Okay. Probably now the next pillar are my speeches. So I tell to the audience always about my expedition, but I try also to bring to the audience a message. And now, Marisa, you don't have the new PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, sorry, I just realized that I don't have the translated version.
Okay, so I will translate. So the first one, I'm often asking, what can I do? What can I do? I'm in Switzerland. Could I start maybe alive as a water ambassador? And I say, yes, it's not a question about money or about ETH or yes, it's not about that. It's about, do you want to really be a water ambassador? Yes or no? And one of the rules, I would say one of the rules is you have to die each year one time in a river or in an ocean or in a lake, because I'm convinced we have to be connected with the world. And if you are connected with the world, you can act. So this is so important, this connection, reconnection with nature, but we are also nature. So to be reconnected with this huge, big blue miracle. Okay, next one. Next rule, I think it's quite difficult to do it every day. Yeah, every time when you are next to a river, it's so far, or an ocean, pick up one piece of trash. But do it every day, every time, and do it the whole life. Do it the whole life. And I believe in this, that change is only possible when we do it every day, consistently, every day, and then we have change. And this is the power of each person also now in this chat with Swiss Water Partnership. The third rule is probably drink local water. Yes, I think we should drink water from the tap. Of course, in Switzerland, drink water from the tap. When you need really bottled water, then drink water bottled from Switzerland and not from Italy or from South America. I think water shouldn't be a lifestyle, shouldn't be a question of lifestyle. Next one, okay, let's keep this rule. Let's the last one. The fourth is, and then it's really yeah, now with this war in the Ukraine, we should save energy. So I'm saying this since years. Save water, then you save energy, and you save also money. But it's really so. I think we have to save water. We have to appreciate water, and but not only this winter. Okay, probably the last slide. Okay, and this is this initiative I have now in the Canton Graubünden, this initiative called the Source of the World, because water is the source of the world. And I try to build up there a movement of water ambassadors. And what is really new is I have now not the whole castle, but I have a part of this castle, and it is next to the Rhine, really next to this European river Rhine. And they try there to build up now a water ambassador community. And I have some partners. One big partner is the Canton Graubünden. So it's really important to have also, it's about, of course, also about money. And I have other partners also to say Sunrise is one partner, Georg Fischer is one partner, Mammut is one partner, and other ones, or a touristic destination, the Vos Cloisters, or the railway, Rätische Bahn, yeah. And yeah, this was my last one. And I hope also for this initiative in the Canton Graubünden that I will find, maybe also with the Swiss Water Partnership and all his members, maybe new supporters for this initiative in Graubünden, because I'm convinced we need more water ambassadors. One is not enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ernst. Let me quickly stop sharing. No, Thanks so much. Even though I've heard Ernst talking several times, is always very interesting and very stimulating. I hope you had the same impression. I don't know if there are questions to Ernst or something you would like to comment on. Feel free to just open your mic and talk. We're in a small group. Was everything so clear?
Yep, I'd like.
Yeah.
May I ask one?
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you, Ernst. That was very interesting and inspiring. I was just wondering if you have a new next expedition in mind. I'm not sure I get it on the presentation.
Yeah, now I was more focused this summer or the last 1 year really on this initiative for the Canton Graubünden, because it was so busy. You need so many. I want to ask you. So you start with the first paper. This was the vision. Then the second paper is, I don't know, in German is Machbarkeitsabklärung. So you have to check and make a lot of interviews. And this is the whole business plan. So it was so huge work, because yeah, it's also now really also the Canton Graubünden, and yeah, this was a huge work. But now, yes, it was 4 times in the Lake Baikal. Huh? I would really aim to go back, but yeah, we know the situation, and yeah, I don't. It's quite difficult. But yes, we have more other lakes, and also I'm more looking. Not more on the south of the world. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you very much, Ernst, for your very interesting presentation, and it's congratulations for your efforts. But perhaps just a short question concerning your experience in Dakar at the World Water Forum. You tried also to motivate water ambassador from other countries. Do you have some results, or what have been your experience being at the World Water Forum in Dakar?
Yeah, I have now some short videos. The short videos are still here on my handy. But the discussions were really interesting. So I asked to the young people there in the youth space, I asked, do we need more water ambassadors? And one said to me, no, we don't need more ambassadors, we need more action. Another one said, I'm also a water ambassador. I'm a water ambassador in Senegal. Another one was a bike ambassador, so he's collecting bikes and cycling. So yes, for the kids in Africa, in Africa. Yeah, there were interesting discussions, but often I don't have really the time to try to build up a community, because yes, I have these 3 pillars, and I try always to all these 3 pillars to do something. And for me now, with this base camp, I would say in Graubünden, in Reichenau, it's really now the first time I have a base camp, and there I have probably also the opportunity to not be alone, to have there more people, maybe also young people, experts and so far, and then we can really build something and really connect, because the discussions were so interesting also with these people from the ETH. It was so great, but often I don't have the time to start email, dear Victor, dear, do you have time for a call? And yeah, this is a little bit.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe a last question from Carla.
Yeah, hello Ernst, very nice seeing you. I think it's a bit, you already said something about it in your last answer. I just wanted to know, with this new project in Graubünden, are you trying to go away from, or not away, but to grow from the image of one person who, I mean, we have this image of Ernst and the Blue Wonder very, very strong. And now, how do you go from there to an image of many people being ambassadors?
I think I have to take this risk. So you know really well Roger Federer, huh? and you know Roger Federer is the greatest tennis player of the world, but there are a lot of kids who are playing tennis, and I think this is for me the analogy now, huh? I'm not Roger Federer, but I'm the water ambassador, and try to be one, but I think I'm only one drop, huh? And we need more drops, and this is it's important, and yeah, I want to take this risk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we have a Roger Federer of the water sector.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ernst, for this interesting presentation and the answers. Then we move on and have a second presentation from Waterlux from Manon. I will share the screen again, and please tell me if you can see it.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Great. Then the floor is yours, Manon.
Thank you. Hi, I am Manon. I am in charge of communication for Water Technology. And I'm here today with Marc-Antoine, who is the CEO of our business. Next slide, please. So we are social business based in Geneva called Waterlux, and we provide the water technology. We are a spin-off of the Andena Foundation, which is already also a member of the Swiss Water Partnership. Next, please. And the water technology is a small device that is used to make active chlorine with only just salt, water, and some energy, which can be solar. And this, with an electrolysis process, produces sodium hypochlorite that is useful for, next please, water treatment and disinfection. We use it a bit like bleach for disinfection. It can be used for the floors, the walls, the latrines, the objects, to wash the hands and also the wounds as a kind of stacking solution, and also to treat the water. No, it's good. Thank you. You can go ahead. It will be quick. We have a range of 4 devices. The smaller one, the mini water, allows to produce half a liter of active chlorine of 5 grams per liters in 2 hours. And the biggest one, the maxi water, has a capacity of 60 liters in 2 hours. We also have reagents that are useful for different purposes. The water test allows to test the concentration of the chlorine produced. The water stab can stabilize the production and the active chlorine for up to 3 months. And the water blue is used to test the quality of the water, or what, let's say more the free residual chlorine that is in the water after the treatment. Next, please. And what is a bit specific about water in the sector of electrolysis is that we produce on-site. The devices are made to be used locally in remote areas, especially very urban, and it's easy to use. It requires very low maintenance, and the fact to produce on-site the chlorine enables to not to have the logistics and the imports and the pollution linked to that, the import of chlorine. Next, please. Also, another thing that is a bit, let's say, a force of water is a strong network of businesses in Africa. We are mostly working in Africa, as you can see. And yes, we have those representatives that help us to put in place projects in different countries, and they really own the project on site. So we have a very good communication with them, and yeah, strong link with them. Next, please. So we use the active chlorine produced with water for three main domains. For the hospital hygiene, as you can see here, with an example in chat, where we have about 124 water installed. Next, please. It is also used in the water sector for the drinking water supply, especially in remote areas, as you can see here in Benin. Next, please. And also in emergency settings to treat the water, or as it was the case in 2020 for the COVID, for the disinfection. Next, please. And we mostly work with international organizations, NGOs, and national corporations, as you can see here. Next, please. And we are happy to be part of the Swiss Water Partnership. It was a really great advantage for us for the World Water Forum, in which we participated. Here on the picture, you can see Mami Daba, who is in charge of the sales and projects, but also the man who's sitting is one of our representatives, Odilon, who works in Benin and Burkina Faso. So for us, the strength of the Swiss Water Partnership is this kind of event where we can be put all together and to have some kind of a coordination. And we are also looking for partners that could be NGOs or other businesses, and mostly some contacts for technical African partners to work with. So I think that's it for me. I let maybe Marc-Antoine introduce himself and complete if he wants to add some things to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Manon. Well, I'm Marc. I'm the CEO of Waterlux. I don't have much to say. The presentation was great. Thank you, Manon. I think some of you might already know the WATA through Antenna Foundation. The WATA device has been designed now more than 10 years ago, almost 15 years. And yeah, we are looking for sectorial information, business and partnership opportunities. So we are glad to be accepted in this group of Swiss Water Partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manon and Marc-André. Are there any questions? If not immediately, I would have one question. Since we have several members who are building or promoting different technologies for water treatment. For me, I'm always wondering how can we know which water treatment methodology is working well, which is maybe not so working, what is just talking but not much behind. So can you give us some insights? Like what would you say? What are the criteria we have to look at if we look at different water treatment methodologies? Are there some kind of guides which can help us to know which is the best? Or I mean, I guess all are maybe, or many of them are maybe good, maybe some in different contexts. So what, from your perspective, would you say are kind of the criteria?
I can begin an answer, and then Marc-Antoine, if you want to add some. I would say it depends mostly on the context. For instance, to treat the water with the chlorine, like we do with water, it doesn't work if your water is polluted with chemical pollution, like very strong, and antibiotics. It doesn't work neither. It's really very useful and efficient for viruses and bacteria, which is one of the biggest pollution worldwide. But on specific topics, it's not the solution needed. And if you had, you have to have specific requirements if you're who's Carla? Okay, I'll answer after. If you have salted water, well, it's not very useful to use active chlorine to treat it, because then it will still be salted. So it really depends on the context. And also we are trying to develop some indicators to see how we know that what we do works on the moment we install that, but afterwards it's hard to get a follow-up. So we are trying to put that in place now, and to have some kind of a follow-up, long-term follow-up. But then, yes, that would be my first ideas of an answer. Marco?
Yeah, to complete, maybe well, I'm not sure it's our role to advise, as we are let's say in the business, but I think for something more objective, I think the reference should be for sure WHO, which have a lot of recommendations. Sure, WHO also produce a certification called scheme certification for water technology for household. And there you can see the different kind of technology you can use depending on the pollution you might face, for instance. I'm not sure if, well, I mean, in Switzerland, we have the opportunity to have EAVAG. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are part of the SWP, but for sure EAVAG can give you this kind of advices, and from a neutral point of view.
Thank you very much. There is a question from Carla, which goes in a similar direction. What are the challenges of producing on site, and how can you ensure the quality standards of the product?
Yeah, I can get this one. if you want. Well, the challenges are first the challenges to get chlorine on site. If we go on the classic way, is it will be through importation of bleach. So it will be chlorine in liquid chlorine, or HTH, which is chlorine in powder. But it's really hard and difficult to find it in rural areas, such as in sub-Saharan Africa. So the idea to produce on site is we can tackle this challenge of supply chain by just using salt, which you can find almost everywhere. We never faced a problem to find salt on site in anywhere. So the main challenge is more related to the source of electricity, but as long as we are now able to provide a solar power supply that comes with the electrochlorinator, I think we also tackle this challenge. And now to ensure the quality standards of the product, we have these quality regions that Manon presented earlier. She presented the water test and give the opportunity to the one who will produce the chlorine to verify the quality of the chlorine that has been produced. So you will be able to know. In fact, you'll be able to determine the concentration of the chlorine you have produced. And we do have in our equipment, we do have a control box which take care of all the production cycle. So it's really like a quality control. Normally, you don't have to change anything.
Thank you very much. I hope the question is answered. Are there any other questions? If not, then thank you very much, Manon and Marc-Antoine. I'm happy to have you as a new member also, even though you were partly already in the partnership with Antenna. And I hope you will find a lot of new collaborators as well through the platform.
Thank you, Marisa.
Then last but not least, we have Samuel from Wasser für Wasser. You can open your mic and you will also share directly, right? I don't hear you well. Maybe you have to increase the volume of your microphone a bit.
Better now?
No, not so.
Okay. Do you hear me or not at all?
Now it's better, yeah. Maybe you have to speak up a bit.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I try to speak up then. Thank you, Marisa, for the introduction. My name is Samuel Renkley. I'm the head of water knowledge at Water for Water. And I will just introduce quickly some key facts about Water for Water, and then introduce some of the projects we are working on. So Water for Water is actually having a celebration this year, 10 years since it was founded in 2012 by the brothers Leo and Maurice Etter. It's an independent non-profit organization with the vision to change the way we use water sustainably. And on the bottom right, you see the current team. We are still a young organization, organizational-wise, and also in the team. We are still a young team compared to other organizations, probably. But we're also in a very much changing phase from more a youth organization to a more professional organization, with a lot of professional people joining in the last years. And this is also reflected in the way we are set up now. So we have 550 partners in Switzerland that we work together. Some of you might know us from restaurant partnerships that we have. but also from office partnerships that we have. And I will speak a bit more about this model of promoting our work while at the same time raising funds. And currently we are working in 3 countries. Of course, in Switzerland, where we are around 17 in the team, and we are now in the process of building up teams in Mozambique and Zambia, as we're really in this role change from more active funder organization to a implementing organization. Yeah, so we came from a start where we started basically with this project work in Switzerland 10 years ago, where we approached restaurants and convinced them basically to not sell bottled water anymore, but rather switch to tap water, as we felt like the water quality is more than good enough in Switzerland. And so restaurants would switch to selling tap water, and they would save money when it comes to storage, when it comes to the product itself, etc. And depending on the model, we work with them together. Part of this revenue or all of the revenue goes to us and directly into our project work. And so this is the first kind of project work we started in Switzerland. The goal was to promote this consumption of tap water, while also integrating donations into everyday life. As we are, as we heard before, we are all connected every day. And so this should also be something that is not only done during Christmas period, but that it's something that we integrate into our daily life. And so we started with this concept in Switzerland, and back then, 2012, I think the first year was around 60,000 Swiss francs. And the goal for us was to find strong local organizations directly and work with them directly, so that they set up projects that we feel like are well worth the money that we are raising. And now we're also slowly changing to building up our own teams. So we have kind of moved from more hygiene promotion organization in Switzerland to a really implementing organization worldwide. We also have other projects in Switzerland that we work on. One is on VFA company, where we basically consult companies also on the switch from bottled water to tap water and other aspects of water stewardship in their daily work. And the third program I want to just quickly highlight here is our VFA Academia program, which I'm going to present a bit more here. The idea of this program is that we want to enable young Swiss students, secondary students, to develop their own actions to promote and to be part of a fair and climate-friendly use of the resource of water. And so we were lucky enough to win an award this year that allowed us now to really start up this program with the goal of having 20 partner schools next year, where we work with the kids on various topics around the resource of water. So in that case, we have modules on your daily consumption of water, what kind of impact does your consumption have on water, also on wash. And the last aspect that we also got a lot of feedback on, that this is a big need, is on water jobs. On the one hand, as those secondary students are really in the process of finding their professional career. And we also believe that we as an organization are an example of many people who took a career in water, and we want to show young kids how they can really dedicate their time into something they believe in. At the same time, there is a scarcity of water professionals in Switzerland, and so there we also have partnerships to better advocate for these kind of jobs in Switzerland. Then we, of course, also have now project work in Zambia and Mozambique, are 2 countries of focus at the moment, where we work basically on 3 different programs. One on access to clean water, one on enabling skills development, vocational skills development mainly in Zambia, and one on wash in schools. The focus is always on urban areas, as we believe that the challenges of the future are more and more happening in urban areas, while of course recognizing that we are all part of the same water cycle. For us also, it's always the goal to establish long-term cooperation with local partner organizations. So since the very beginning, we are working with still the same organizations in Zambia and Mozambique. And so I just want to highlight some of the work we are doing at the moment and that we have done. So in Zambia, we have worked through local organizations on providing access to clean water to more than 120,000 people. And actually just in 2 weeks, we are very happy to be able to start the water flow in another neighborhood in Lusaka that was previously not connected to the municipal water network. And now we're also in the process with our local team to set up initiatives with the local water utilities in Zambia with the goal of really improving the service for water to a level that is actually sketched out as a goal in the Sustainable Development Goals. So there we deal with topics on non-revenue water, water quality, and so forth. And here are just some impressions. I think this is also for me a nice image because it brings a bit together our philosophy of work in Zambia, where we really try to, on the one hand, make investments into water supply infrastructure and water supply services, but at the same time building up the skills to maintain this water service. And this is an image of the current connection that is happening in the neighborhood we work, where basically the plumbers that went through our vocational skills development program are now building up this water supply service. And this is a really nice example for us on how our different programs connect together and how this can become one thing. And so this leads me to this vocational skills development program, which is probably at the moment one of our bigger focus. So there we started also 10 years ago in a small neighborhood school in Kanyama in Lusaka with around, I think, 12 students at the time. In the meantime, this has grown into a national program where we have 2 partner schools and growing, with more than 500 people have graduated in nationally recognized courses for plumbers and water operators. But we're also called into a national skills advisory group for water professions in Zambia and are part of a nationwide reform program of those water professions, as the people were still learning 2 years ago with curriculums from basically the 1980s. There we were very happy to bring in this expertise that we could gain in the last 10 years and make this available nationwide. Now we will move much more into a space where we want to work on learning materials and are also part of the introduction of dual vocational training for water professions in Zambia. And on the right, you just see some impressions from the work. I think one of the main gaps we identified when it comes to vocational skills was really on practical skills. As Zambia comes from a British historical background, where vocational training was still very theory heavy and often not catering to the needs of industry, of the private sector. So the main push at the moment for us is to bring in or to enable the industry in Zambia to bring in their knowledge into the vocational skills development sector in Zambia. And this is just an example of such an industry workshop where the biggest water utility of the country would come to the school on a regular basis to work with the students directly on the most up-to-date materials that are being used, etc. And this is just another nice little impression from the students at one of our vocational schools. I think, I'm just going to cover this quickly. This is our program in Mozambique that is more focusing on an institutional setting in schools. where we work directly with schools in Maputo, the capital of Mozambique, on wash improvements. So in the last 4 years when we started, we were able to work on 4 schools very extensively, where we would build up new wash infrastructure and implement hygiene promotion and wash education programs. Very close also to this Blue Schools approach that maybe some of you know. We also had this challenge then, of course, 2 years ago during the height of the COVID pandemic, where the Maputo City Council basically closed all the primary schools and made the condition for them to open if COVID measurements are being implemented through soap provision and hand washing stations. And so we then shifted our temporary focus to providing these kind of services to the schools that allowed them, more than 90,000 kids, to go back to school basically, as the schools would have been closed. And this maybe also just shows that we always try to work very agile, as we are a small organization, and still have the opportunity to work very quick and with short communication ways that we can really adapt our programs to the needs. This is just some impression. Maybe the last thing I want to highlight here is maybe this picture. In order to provide soap for this many children in schools, you need a lot of soaps, and we then noticed that our local partners would buy soaps from Vietnam, made out of palm oil, from Unilever, and we felt very uncomfortable of having such a big part of the budget go into such a company. And we felt like all the ingredients are there in Mozambique, and it really matters how you do something, not just what kind of goal you achieve. So if the goal is just we want to provide as much children with soap as possible, then the Unilever soap is the way to go, because it's the cheapest. But if you think about, okay, the way you do something also matters, and maybe there are goals related to your bigger goal that are not so directly measurable, then you have to find another way. This led to us basically looking for local soaps, and we found a local producer. And in the meantime, we felt so strong about this idea that we basically bought this factory and are now producing our own soap in Mozambique, in order to, on the one hand, generate revenue in the countries we work, to also break a bit with the stigma of money flowing from the north to the south, if you will, while at the same time really being able to provide a high quality soap to the students, and also strengthening the value of the country itself, as this is also something that is always very well received if the kids realize, this soap was produced actually in my country with ingredients that I see every day, and actually it smells much better and is much nicer than the Unilever palm oil soap. This just as an example to show that we also always try to integrate those social business approaches into our work, that we try to see how can we do things maybe also a bit different than how it's done usually. So maybe last slide, I think that was asked by Marisa to also include like what is our interest to come into Swiss Water Partnership. And I think for us it's really, we see this as an exchange platform to exchange with water experts, and not just water experts from the NGO world, but really from different sectors, from different perspectives. And this is really the network where those different perspectives on water come together, we feel like. And then also, of course, to scope for joint opportunities for collaboration, which we're always, of course, very open to, and also happy to have Vata in the call today, where we also are exploring slowly how we can work together. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your attendance. If you have questions, then.
Great, thank you very much. And I think it kind of close the circle a bit in on one side to Ernst's presentation, who is also very active in awareness raising in Switzerland. And on the other side, of course, also access to safe water in the global south, in African countries. So all three presenters today have a strong interlinkage also. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? I see Darcy's hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I guess you can leave the screen on. It's okay. You still are showing his information, so I can't see everyone, but I will do the gallery. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you very much. Super interesting and really exciting to see what you guys have accomplished in the last 10 years. I mean, from influencing people drinking water in Zurich to all the way to Mozambique, and this broad scope that you have. From my side, I'm at ETH in environmental engineering. So I just want to say, you know, we can maybe connect later. We are also trying to attract more young people to the sector. So we teach about water resources management, but also urban water, and we're linked to EAVAG. We have 2 professors from EAVAG in our group. So yeah, your activities with secondary schools here would be good to talk to you about that later. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. I also come from ETH, environmental engineering. So yeah, definitely we can.
Okay, yeah, good. Then you know the landscape here. Yeah, okay, good.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? I don't know, have you worked together also with Ernst, for example? Has there been, have you known each other, or is it the first time that you?
I have heard of Ernst, but I think we never spoke.
Yes, I heard a lot about Wasser für Wasser also through Johannes.
Yeah.
And Michael Kropotko. I don't know really the second name. Yeah.
Kropacz, yeah.
Kropacz, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the drinking water from the tap is also in your sense. No, that's also one of your messages.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Mano has one more question. Yeah.
Yes, and I think there was one on the but it's called, but you had to give, I think, on the chat there was a question.
Yeah, just ask your question. I'll
read
in the meantime.
Thank you for the presentation. That's nice, Samuel. You seem to have a very broad scope of activities. How do you prioritize, or what is your strategy on how to expand now that you do all those different things?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we're currently also writing our strategy for the next years. I think the first 10 years was really led also by a lot of intuition and a lot of finding out and exploring. And I think now we're really in this change from a young organization to more professionalized organization, which is showing everywhere. And yeah, it's a big change that we're currently in. I think the priorities really emerged in the last 10 years. And at the moment, when it comes to implementing the program, so this is more the unit that I'm leading, we are now focusing on those 4 programs with project teams in each country. And yeah, it's a good question, but it's a difficult one to answer. I think it really comes out of the last 10 years of work and those stopping, emerging, and us being open to see, okay, where can we play a role? Where does it need us? And where do we feel strong about giving in our time and energy? And yeah, I think some decisions really came out of kind of a gap analysis of the last 10 years. For example, I think 10 years ago, very few organizations, when it comes to water, worked in urban settings, for example. I think that was a conscious decision 10 years ago to say, hey, urbanization will continue to go strong. The African continent will soon be the most populated continent, and this will especially be seen in cities and urban areas. And we felt like we want to work there where these big changes are happening.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. was a question from Carl, but he had to leave. And we are already at the end of the time. So I suggest we stop here. Thank you, Samuel, for your presentation. And also, hopefully you will find or be able to create fruitful partnerships. As I already mentioned, we have 2 more presentations tomorrow, so it would be great if you can also join tomorrow to listen in to Links to Water Development and Scott Foundation, who will be presenting. And then we'll see each other soon again for some other Swiss Water Partnership activities for sure. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.